Picture this. You've just handed over your hard-earned deposit, signed on the dotted line, and driven your brand new SUV out of the dealership with that new car smell still hanging in the air. By the time you've parked it in your driveway that same afternoon, it's already worth thousands less than what you paid an hour ago. That's not an exaggeration for effect. For 12 SUVs sold in Australia right now, I'm not talking about EVs today either. No battery anxiety, no charging network excuses. I'm talking about plain old petrol and diesel SUVs, the kind doing school runs and towing tinnies to the coast, that are quietly torching owners' bank accounts faster than almost anything else on the road in 2026. So buckle up, because we're counting down from the mildly annoying to the genuinely gut-wrenching, and if you're currently driving one of these, you might want to sit down for this one. Number 12. The Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. This is a car that's spent its whole life a little confused about its own identity. It's not quite small enough to be a cheeky city runabout, not quite big enough to be a proper family hauler, and it borrowed its badge from a two-door sports coupe most buyers have never even heard of. Australians took one look, shrugged, and walked straight past it, into an Outlander instead. That lack of demand shows up brutally in the used market. When nobody's actively hunting for a car, dealers can't hold the price line, and resale simply slides. You end up paying close to RAV4 money for something the second-hand market treats about as generously as a rental return. Not catastrophic, just the warm-up act before things get properly ugly. Number 11, the MG HS. Now, to be fair, MG has pulled off something genuinely impressive in this country, clawing its way from a half-forgotten British badge into one of the best-selling brands on the market, purely by undercutting everyone else on price. But here's the trap with cheap-to-buy cars. They're almost always cheap to sell again too, and MG makes it worse for existing owners by constantly rolling out newer, cheaper generations. Every time a fresh HS lands, with a lower sticker price, to keep the sales charts ticking over, every used HS already sitting in someone's driveway gets dragged down with it. You didn't do anything wrong owning one. You just got outpaced by the version that replaced you. Number 10. The Nissan Pathfinder. On paper, this is the full package, 3 rows, real towing capability, proper family hauler credentials. In reality, it's stuck in the exact trap that catches almost every large Nissan sold here. It's the SUV people buy when a Land Cruiser or a Prado is just out of reach, and the second-hand market knows it. Buyers shopping for a used 7-seater this size will pay a premium for the Toyota badge every single time, which leaves the Pathfinder discounted hard just to find a buyer at all. Big car, big original price tag, and when the value falls, it falls in big, painful dollar amounts. Number 9, the Audi Q7. Now we're properly into money territory, and here's a myth worth busting on the way in. It's not true that all luxury cars depreciate faster than everything else. Plenty of prestige SUVs hold their value just fine. The Q7 isn't one of them. CarsGuide's own analysis of listing data puts the Q7 at 72.4% retained after 1 year, and only 52.9% after 3, worse than direct rivals like the BMW X5 and Mercedes-Benz GLE, and worse than most SUVs on the market full stop. On a car that starts north of 117 grand new, a 47% hit over 3 years isn't a percentage anymore. It's a house deposit, just gone. Gorgeous to drive. Brutal to own past year 1. Number 8, the Land Rover Discovery Sport. This one's sneaky because it lulls you in early. In the first 12 months, it actually holds up beautifully, retaining a healthy 82.8% of its value, and if you sold at that exact moment, you'd walk away thinking you'd made a smart call. Then, year 3 rolls around, and the floor disappears, down to just 52.5%. It tricks you into feeling safe, and then takes the money anyway. And that's before we even get into the Land Rover ownership experience generally, which, spoiler, is going to come up again on this list. And not because it's improving. Number 7, the Renault Koleos. Renault's mid-size SUV is up against genuine titans in this segment. The RAV4, the X-Trail, the CX-5, and on the surface, it looks perfectly competent. Reasonably spacious, easy to live with, fairly priced when new. But the depreciation curve tells a very different story to its rivals. It retains just 63.4% after 1 year, and by year 3, that's collapsed to 50.7%. Here's a fun one for the group chat. Despite the very French badge, the Koleos is actually built in South Korea. None of that trivia helps it on the used lot, where buyers see the name. Remember, they could have had a Toyota for the same money, and keep walking. Number 6. The Jeep Compass. A small SUV that depreciates like it's trying to make a point. The Compass sheds value dramatically faster than rivals like the Suzuki Vitara, which, by the way, is one of the best value holders in the entire market, making the comparison particularly unkind. The Compass retains only about 68.3% after year 1, and by year 3, that's down to 48.8%. But honestly, the resale figure is only half the story with Jeep in this country right now. Jeep Australia has been in genuine freefall sales down hard, dealer networks thinning out, and the flagship Grand Cherokee even getting pulled from local showrooms after demand cratered. When a brand looks like it's quietly heading for the exit, every future used buyer starts asking the same nervous question. Who's servicing this thing in 5 years? And where do the parts even come from? That uncertainty is poison for resale value. Number 5. The Jeep Grand Cherokee. Speaking of which, I couldn't leave this one off, even pulled from new car sale, because if you bought one in the last few years, you are living this story right now. This is a vehicle that's been recalled more times than most people rotate their tires. Jeep recalled over 354,000 Grand Cherokees globally because rear coil springs weren't properly attached and could detach while the car was in motion. Then, in early 2026, Jeep had to recall over 80,000 of those same vehicles again because the original fix didn't actually solve the problem. A repair recalled for not repairing anything. Stack that reputation on top of a resale hit already sitting north of 50%, and you've got owners sitting on SUVs worth tens of thousands less than what they still owe on them. The owner forums read like horror fiction, except none of it's made up. Quick pause before we get into the properly expensive end of this list. If any of this is talking you out of a 5-figure mistake, do me a favor and smash that like button. And if you're new here, get subscribed, because we cover exactly this kind of thing every week. Costs you nothing, genuinely helps the channel, and we've still got the worst offenders coming. Right, let's keep going. Number 4. The Land Rover Range Rover Sport. Told you Land Rover would be back. On the surface, this looks like exactly the kind of car that should hold its value. The presence, the badge, the image people are paying for. The reality is one of the steepest depreciation curves you'll find anywhere in the segment, with owners commonly watching well over half the purchase price evaporate within a handful of years on a vehicle that can comfortably clear 6 figures new. And the reason isn't mysterious. Land Rover consistently sits near the bottom of reliability surveys. Air suspension failures, electrical faults that seem to appear from nowhere, software that has a mind of its own, and repair bills that make your eyes water the moment the warranty runs out. A single air spring replacement alone can run into the thousands. Once that safety net disappears, used buyers sprint the other way, and the asking price follows them down. Number 3. The Alfa Romeo Stelvio. Here's one that sneaks onto this list without a British badge or a Jeep grille in sight. On paper, the Stelvio is the enthusiast's pick of the segment. Genuinely sharp to drive, gorgeous Italian styling, an interior that feels special next to the usual German suspects. The problem is everything surrounding the car itself. Alfa Romeo's presence in Australia has always been small. The dealer network is thin on the ground, outside capital cities, and depreciation studies consistently place the Stelvio in the worst performing bracket for its class, with owners commonly losing well over half the car's value inside 5 years. It's the same story we saw with Jeep. When a brand's local footprint looks fragile, every future buyer starts worrying about servicing and parts before they even ask about the drive. A gorgeous car, undone by a badge nobody's confident will still be around to support it. Number 2, the Peugeot 3008. And here's where it gets genuinely brutal, because unlike everything else on this list, this isn't a luxury barge or a recall magnet. It's an ordinary mid-size family SUV that happens to post the worst 3-year resale of any SUV in CarsGuide's entire study, retaining just 39.4% of its original value. Under 40%. A 3008 that started around 50 grand new is worth barely half that within 3 years, and still falling. And here's what really stings, it's not even a bad car. The design stands out in a car park full of near-identical gray blobs, the interior feels genuinely upmarket, and it's good to drive. None of that matters to resale. The market decided the French badge and the thin dealer network weren't worth the risk, and the market, fair or not, always wins. Number 1. The Range Rover, bought outright. Leasing games aside, this is the one buyers actually own and actually feel the pain of. Everything that makes the sport painful, the full-size Range Rover does on a grander scale. The bigger the starting price, the bigger the fall in raw dollars. Stack the patchy reliability reputation, the eye-watering out-of-warranty repair bills, and the tiny pool of buyers brave enough to take one on second-hand, all on top of a price tag that starts north of $250,000. Once the warranty's gone, the used market essentially taps out. The few buyers who do want one want it for a song, and the values fall through the floor to meet them. You can pick up a 3 or 4-year-old example for a fraction of its original price, which sounds like a bargain right up until the first repair bill lands, and you understand exactly why it was so cheap. It's the most car for the money on the used lot, and the most money for the car when you owned it new. That's the trap. And it closes on the original owner every single time. So there you have it, 12 petrol and diesel SUVs turning into genuine money pits on Australian roads faster than almost anything else you can buy new in 2026. Now, I want to hear from you. Which one shocked you the most? Or, and no judgment here if this is you, are you sitting in one of these right now with one eye on the trade-in figure? Drop your story in the comments. Misery loves company. And frankly, so does this channel. And if you made it all the way to number 1, you already know what to do. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Drive safe.